But right now, for this episode, I'm just going to be showing you my fifth one for my least favorite and number one for my most favorite supercar, and a lot of factors and aspects of the car that I'm going to be talking a little bit about is the handling, top speed, acceleration, sort of the weight of the car and how it feels when driving around, if it's grippy or not and whatnot. So anyway, let's get right into the video without wasting any more time. So for this top 5 list, it was pretty difficult to choose between the cars that we had in the category for supercars. We had the Tesla, the Pegassi Veyka, and the Ford GT, and between them I had to choose the Ford GT because the Pegassi Veyka was awful lot similar to the Infernus, and the Infernus was much better. The Infernus will be showcased in this episode, and also the fact that the Tesla wasn't really my type of car, to be honest. You know, fair enough, it's a supercar and it's an electric car and it's got insane acceleration. I just had to choose the Vapid Bullet simply because of its superiority against the other supercars when it comes to its weight and its muscle features, with its armor being much more powerful. Then in that sense, it's going to be competing against the other supercars. When it comes to multiplayer racing, if you were to try and overtake this car, it's going to be pretty difficult because a little touch on this car will pretty much flip you over and out of the race if you were to be using any other car. So, you know, if you were to say take the lead with this car, it's going to be pretty tough for other cars to take you over. And also, you can pretty much take over other cars depending on how you want, you know, how you want to take over. There's certain dirty drivers out there just go smash into other cars, and they're going to pretty easily do it with this one. Or you can do it the other way around, where you invite the other cars to smash into you, if they, well, most likely would, because that's pretty much what most dirty drivers do, and in consequence they will have to pay the price instead of you. So at the number 4 spot, I had to go with the Bugatti Veyron, also known as the Ada in this game, or the Ada, and it's pretty much not particularly my favorite car to be choosing when it comes to multiplayer racing, just because of its size. It's quite wide, and if you were to try and overtake any cars ahead of you with a lot of traffic in the way, it's going to be pretty difficult, especially in tight roads and tight situations. And also when you're going at very, very high speed, it's going to be difficult to turn at sharp corners because you'd have to end up braking way too much in comparison to the other lightweight cars where they have to brake very little and go at very high speeds when it comes to sharp turns. So you'll have to sacrifice a lot of speed to get that perfect turn and carry on racing in that straight road without having to do any dirty work. Then again, this has yet the similar features to the Ford GT as we showcased previously, with its weight and size to actually dominate in front of the race, to not allow anyone else to overtake you if you're that type of driver. At the same time, you know, you can still you know, keep your composure throughout the race and not be able to spin out, because it's very, very easy to control because of its weight, and it's very, very grippy to the ground. So in that sense, yeah, it's going to be quite comfortable to drive this car. But as I said, when it comes to competing against a lot of grippy, turny roads, sharp turns, it's going to be pretty difficult. But in straight roads, yeah, go for it. In straight roads, you're going to be fine. But, you know, as I said, if you're going to sacrifice a lot of speed when it comes to braking. But it's a pretty good car in general, but not my type. Alright guys, moving on to number 3, we've got the Cheetah. I decided to put this in number 3 spot because it was between my least favorite and favorite, obviously, is it's number 3, and the fact that it sort of got the combination of being very, very lightweight, so it's good advantages, but at the same time disadvantages of being a lightweight as well, just because of the simple fact that a little contact with another car in a multiplayer race can easily make this thing go flying off track. And as you saw one of my racing videos, I just got a little touch from a guy and I went off balance and just went flipping off the course. But hey, that's not what we want in races, right? So that's one of the disadvantages of this. But then again, the acceleration and the handling is on point, but the top speed for this car kind of sucks compared to most of the other cars within the list for some reason. Still a fast car when it comes to the start of the race, and also, as I said, the handling is just insane. But I can also say that at the same time, it's not necessarily the most efficient car to be using frequently, because I don't know, it really let me down on multiplayer. But then again, within the game and campaign, it's an insanely fast car, and the handling is really, really good. You can go between tight corners at very high speeds. At the same time, when it comes to sharp turns, this car is pretty much the only car in the game that you can go at very, very high speeds without actually skidding off the track. So you can go at high speed, sacrificing less speed when you're turning around sharp corners, so you can overtake certain cars with more weight that needs to reduce more speed when braking around sharp turns. So this car definitely has its advantages when it comes to sharp turns, going at high speeds, and being able to consistently go at the pace. But unfortunately, the top speed actually lets you down. However, you got the acceleration and the handling there to compensate for that. And pretty much that's it about this car. You know, it's aerodynamic features helps you it helps the handling, and also the fact that it's so lightweight. You know, obviously it's gonna help you overtake certain cars between tight spaces quite easily. So, you know, pretty good car. You see this jump right here. I nearly managed to go on top of the roof, but then again, I went a bit too much, then just could not get the landing. Then I went to the other side of the building, so I'm not too sure how I'm going to get to the other side of the building apart from that way. But anyway, that's pretty much for this. So for our second spot, I wanted to go with the Entity XF. This is slightly heavier than the Cheetah that we mentioned previously. So it's got that perfect balance of weight, handling, and acceleration with the top speed. It's got pretty cool customizable features with the bumpers, and with the rear bumpers, side skirts are carbonated. So that's pretty cool. At the same time, you know, with a huge balance, we've already mentioned this before, it can be commonly used within the multiplayer, because, you know, a lot of people seem to find it easier to drive with this, and I completely agree. It's such an easy car to use because it's perfect. It's a perfect car. But then again, there's certain things with the other cars that we've mentioned that sacrifice certain things to actually get advantage over this car, with certain things such as handling, acceleration, and top speed. So this is not the fastest car in the game, but then again, it does the job. You know, it's got that sort of perfect weight and size where if you get touched, you know, you won't go flying off like the Cheetah, but you still have that slight chance of actually doing so in the first place. You know, if you can still go toppling off if you get hit right head on from backwards, but happened to me once. But it's still that car that people love, and I can understand why. Now moving on to the first place, we got the Infernus, and I had to put the Infernus, I'm sorry, because for those of you out there know this from GTA 4, it's perfect in this game as well. Acceleration is insane when you do the appropriate method at the start of the race, when you hold down your R2 acceleration button, and when it says go, you let go at 1 second remaining, and then you go bang, you press it, and it just accelerates so quickly past any car ahead of you. If you start last of the race, you're gonna go right in front of it, and no one else does the acceleration properly for their cars. And every time I've used this car, I've always come in front. But the problem with this is that the other cars behind you can easily catch you up. And this is one of those cars where it's kind of weird, because the backside, the battery crease is really big. You can easily, you're kind of vulnerable to actually getting hit from the back when people are trying to overtake you. So that's one of the downsides to this car. But then again, I can tell you right now, the handling is amazing, but it's kind of weird when it comes to sharp turns, right? Because it's got that, this car seems really lightweight when I've driven it, and you can see it's like slight little jumps can easily make you go airborne, and then because of this, you're gonna get that extra momentum carrying on from the back of the car with the G-force hitting you in. So when you actually turn in sharp corners, you're gonna get the G-force hitting in from the back, and you're gonna go sliding left to right. So it's really important to be able to actually control that. And of course, all comes down to your driving skills. And at the same time, I wanted to say that just remember, when it comes to sharp turns and you're braking hard at top speeds, this car is kind of prone to actually skid off when you're braking, with the back tires actually skidding onto the ground really hard, because this is not as grippy as the other cars, because it's really lightweight. At the same time, it's got a mixture between the Entity and the Cheetah with the weight put together. So it's in between the Cheetah and Entity, because it doesn't stay flat on the ground because of the suspensions. You're going to get that rear spin when you're turning, and you quite often going to get you skidding off the track, which you don't want that to happen. So it's really important to get the balance between the braking and the speed, the top speed, and that's where your skill comes into place, because this car takes a lot of skill to drive, and when you actually perfect it, you will be doing perfect with this car and winning a lot of races. And the perfect landing coming in right there, boom, like a boss, and yeah, driving on casual like nothing happened. So this is one of my favorite cars in the game, and it has to be said, you know, is the sheer beauty of it. First of all, just look at it. Obviously I kind of ruined it with a spoiler purposely for this, but you know, it's just, I had to rush this. I don't know why I rushed it, but I wanted to post it today. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know in the comments below what your top 5 looks like. I already showed you, I already seen most of yours from the previous video.